What is happening, guys? Just going to walk through a bit of a market outlook for the upcoming week. It is Monday now. We're about half an hour from London Open, so let's get into it and kind of see what we're looking at for the week. So I'll start on GBPUSD. As you can see, I've kind of already walked through what I'm looking for on the 4 hour. I did send this out to the Telegram, so make sure if you're not in that, check the link below. That's just basically daily market updates for you guys, what I'm looking at. But basically, what was that? About a month ago, we had our major inducement to the left, and ever since then, we've just been falling off. So what we've come in the end of last week, just before our major news, we came into the extreme of this area. Now, I'm not sure if this will hold long term. I'm not expecting it to, given how far we've come into it, but it is a really, really good area of demand. And we did induce a lot of liquidity here, which led to the major break or major inducement as well. So this point does hold a lot of weight. I'm expecting it to do so. So there's kind of two options on the 4 hourly. We're either just going to melt off, and then I'm solely just looking for sells higher time frame and long term. But in the case that that doesn't happen, we should get a bit of a complex pullback to fill some type of imbalance, fill some type of supply point, and then kind of sell off, creating liquidity to the downside. So on the 4 hour, as you can see, what I've done is once we get this break here, this will basically confirm a retracement. So I'm actually looking to head up to this point. So this is where my longer term targets are in order for buyers, which I'll jump into in a second. But more or less, that's what I'm kind of aiming for. So once we get the break and the retest and push of that level and kind of get two bits of structure built above this, I'm going to look to buy up to an area like this. So this point here did push through this low here, but given that we had already broken, this supply I don't think holds as much as what this demand does. So I'm expecting that if we push up to this point, that this supply actually won't hold long term. It may induce a fair bit of liquidity, maybe take a low, but I'm looking to more or less sell from the take of this point, as there's probably lots of liquidity sitting above this point. So that's kind of my aim higher time frame. If I jump straight down to the 15-minute intraday coming into today, as you can see, we have done the live within the group, so that is up, but like I said, we've came to the manipulation we've been manipulated into this demand here and then pushed up to the upside. We've now returned to this area of supply. So I'm not expecting this area of supply to hold. I do want to push through it. As you can see, sellers are losing control out of this anyway. It's just a matter of if we're going to be able to get into this. So I do have a 15-minute entry model playing out here, given that we have pushed up internally in here. So if price can push its way down here, I am very, very happy to buy up, targeting the liquidity that's generated here, and like I said, targeting that 4 hour high that's built here. So that is an entry model that I do go through with the group anyway. That is actually building, but looking internally, we have induced into the mitigation of this point, and then we've induced into the mitigation of this point. So what I'm kind of expecting, if this is going to play out long term, is through London throughout the day today, moving towards New York, we're going to get the sell-off here. There's a lot of buyers and a lot of buyers in here. I'm aiming just to target that. So price could push its way up, basically push straight up to this. That is a possibility. But in the case that we do get this buy model early in this week, I'm wanting price now to kind of work its way down here, build up liquidity to buy. So I will be looking for a sell in here if that is confirmed. All I'm looking for is some type of entry model off of this possible buyer's trap. So once I get the confirmation that that's the go, I'm going to try and sell this down. So we've got Asia lows, we've then got this point here. So I'm expecting it to be a slow reaction and then a quick one to the upside. So you've more got impulse, complex pullback, impulse, and kind of getting that till we take that liquidity, and then when we sell off, which will give us that higher time frame outlook on the 4 hour. So that's what I'm looking for coming into today. Now in terms of EU, which is the other pair, we can jump straight on the 4 hour. Give me a sec, I'll jump over to my other screen. Beautiful. So 4 hourly, we have had a major inducement, which then did lead to a medium inducement here. Very, very clean inducement, as you can see. And then we've pushed up from there. So this lines up with what I'm experiencing, what we're experiencing on GU. We have come into a daily supply, and then we've kind of worked our way off of that here. So unlike GU, the most recent supply, which is this one here, is responsible for a break. So I'm expecting it to actually possibly hold. Especially given that we've actually taken lower time frame liquidity and induced in this supply, and we've induced into the mitigation of a previous supply. So it is possible to get that. So that's what I'm kind of looking for coming into the week, is moving back up to that way. So we have taken the first amount of liquidity and reacted off a very small supply, which I'll show on the lower time frame. But I'm expecting price to kind of move its way through here, as the liquidity it's taken here outweighs everything here. We've got huge imbalances sitting in here, so we need to come and fill that, which will get us up closer to this point. So the high time frame on both pairs lines up quite well. EU kind of tells me that we're more or less heading towards this point, which tells me that it's more likely to buy up on GU as well. So trade down to the 15-minute, what we're working with here, like I said, really, really good inducement, take out of trendline liquidity with that news to end last week. We then had an inducement into a mitigation of this point, and now we're starting to get that sell-off. So I'm expecting this sell-off to actually give some type of move. This is responsible for a major inducement, so I'm expecting this to at least hold enough weight to push itself back into this imbalance here, maybe come into this area here where we get the buy back up. So we've actually got the buy model playing out on EU as well, which is really, really clean to see. So what I'm looking for, exactly the same as what GU today is, I'm looking for this to either be proven to be some type of trap point. It is at the moment. If we break this internal high here, I'll actually look to buy from here. So that's kind of a different scenario we've got here, is if we take this high, I'm actually going to look to buy off of that, because we will take enough liquidity in here for me to treat this as a medium inducement. But at the moment, it's not that. I'm expecting just to sell off slowly, reaction out of here. That's where I'm going to look to sell, to then target this low here, take that liquidity, fill this area of imbalance and fill this area of demand, here, and then look to buy off of that come New York, which will give me a New York reversal entry model, which is quite conditioned for this type of price action. So basically for today, looking to just catch the sell-off and then complete the daily cycle, take this low, and then we can take London highs, Asian highs, take this liquidity that's built up here, we'll generate liquidity here to look to buy. So that gives us the outlook on both. If we do sell off here, we're going to need a lot more price action for that. It's early in the week. We've just finished with that big news on Friday. It is a Monday, a no news Monday, which means it is more or less going to be slow price action. And given that there's heaps of people buying at the moment, I'm not going to look to buy until we've taken enough liquidity, and then it tells me that we're definitely selling. So no selling, no buying until the buyers are out, and no selling until the sellers are out. So that's basically quite simple what we're looking for. So take these buyers out, look to buy. Once we've done that, if price then tells me that it's not buying and it's respecting the selling momentum, we'll have a new range here off of a medium inducement or even a major inducement into a mitigation, and then we can look to catch that to sell down to maybe fill this area here, or even take this low to then buy back up. But that'll be later in the week anyway. So more or less, I'm just going to be looking for buys long-term on GU and EU until it proves that it's not the case. But like I said, we've had that news Friday. Let's take it slow into this week, and let's go from there. So any questions, chuck them in the comments below. Like I said, join that Telegram. I send out the 15-minute charts for the day every day, and we'll go from there. So basically into August now. Let's have a good second half of the year, and let's get into it.